Cases rise. Deaths are also up across the province, and the majority continue to come from our long-term care homes. Philip No and his family unfortunately lost a grandparent to the virus. He joins us now this morning with the devastating impacts that COVID-19 can have. Philip, good morning to you, and we are so sorry to hear about your grandfather. There is a reason why we wanted to bring you on here today, because there are a lot of people who hear these numbers that we in news talk about numbers. Well, it's not about a number, it is a person, and it was your grandfather. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks, Melanie, for having me.
Tell us a little bit about what happened with your grandfather and the timeline, because I understand it was very sudden.
Yeah, that's correct. My grandfather unfortunately passed away last Wednesday. We only found out he was COVID positive about 1 day before his passing. So unfortunately, we didn't really get any time to say goodbye to him. He was feeling ill maybe about like 5 days beforehand, but all of his tests came back negative until that 1 day before he passed.
And then he had a positive test, and then as it happened so suddenly, what we're seeing are some visuals from you, from your family, laying him to rest on Friday. Tell me about the situation in the long-term care home. Sadly, we are seeing these stories. What was the situation there?
Yeah, so, the long-term care homes are obviously, once they have an outbreak of any sort, it's a very difficult road for them, because it is hard to contain the virus within, a confined kind of space. They are trying their very best, but at the end of the day, you're going to have once one mistake or one action, one event that somehow brings COVID-19 into these long-term care homes, it just makes it much more difficult for them to get a control of it at that point.
Philip, because of how fast this all happened, you weren't able to say a proper goodbye.
Yeah, that's right. Unfortunately, he was already incapacitated when we found out that he had COVID, and he was already hooked up to a ventilator at that point. So, we're just standing outside a window, but at least 6 feet away from the nursing home, just looking at him, unable to really, touch him, really hold him, or anything like that you normally would with a grandparent or somebody in a long-term care home, or even just anybody passing away. Naturally, you would want to be close to them, but we can't do that in a situation like this.
Philip, please share with us his name and the special relationship that you had with him.
Yeah, so his name was Chin Long No. In Cantonese, in our culture, we call him Aye. And he pretty much took care of me as I was a kid. He was the one that, took me to elementary school, walked me to school, picked me up. So that's how far our roots go. And I was very close to him. Even just a few days before his passing, he wished me a 30th birthday before he went. So he, wasn't just anybody at a long-term care home. He is also a very sound mind before he had passed. And he was, not everybody in a long-term care home is suffering from late-stage dementia or anything like that. It's just unfortunate that it had to happen to him and also his nursing home.
Philip, when we see the different restrictions that are in place across the province and in different municipalities, and a lot of people, many people are, but some aren't taking it seriously, what is your message to them?
What I ask the people in the community, because at the end of the day, this really affects everyone, and we all have a part to play in this pandemic, regardless if you are a healthcare worker or just a person in the community. All that I ask is you don't become that reason why there's a new chain of infections or events that happen because of something that you did. So please be mindful of every action that you take. And just know that community infections do eventually trickle its way down into other segments of the population and affects other people's families.
We are all very much connected here. Again, we are sorry for your loss, Philip. Thank you so much for joining and speaking so eloquently about your grandfather. I'm sure he'll be smiling down on you. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie.
All right, so 7:39. I think it's always good to have these reminders of stories. Again, we show you numbers a lot, but we don't always show you the faces. And so we're going to endeavor to do more of that so you can really understand the impact. We're going to bring in Dave now, switching gears and get you to that drive. Good morning.